Hello, it's Cryptos. I hope you are well this Monday, 12 February 2024. We're meeting today to talk about MINA protocols crypto. So as usual, we're going to split this video into two parts. A fundamental part, we are going to come back to what MINA is, the use of MINA in MINA protocol, the news, because you will see that there are still a lot of things to see in the news. And then we will project short, medium, long term on the charts for purchase prices, sale prices, and it starts right away by explaining what MINA is. So MINA basically was born from an idea about the period when we were really in the notion of Ethereum killer, where there was a problem of scalability. Ethereum fees were just totally abusive. And MINA came up with a notion of creating a layer which will be based on zero knowledge proof and in which we will have a drastic reduction in the size of the blockchain with great scalability behind it. The principle being the following was to have something which was 300 gigas in size in terms of blockchain to something which was 200 kilobytes, so really ridiculous compared to that. So how does it work? The principle is as follows. It will be to encapsulate an image within an image. Imagine, I think you have all already seen on Twitter, a little bit, even on any other media, these images that we had at a given moment. Where we move from one image, we continue to move forward. We enter a new image, which enters a new image, which enters a new image, and so on. Having images within images is the same principle at MINA's level. They want to make a screenshot which will take into account the old screenshots, which themselves take into account the old screenshots, and so on, to be able to go from image to image until the first validation. The advantage is that we will therefore have a blockchain which will be very low in terms of cost and size. We are talking about the lightest blockchain currently, and this is really MINA's idea. It is to use the notion of ZK proof, therefore zero knowledge proof, which is the mathematical proof, to be able to create this capacity, to be able to reduce the size of the blockchain, but also to increase its capacity to make transactions. So we will have fees which will be very low and alongside a truly minimalist blockchain concept, truly structured around performance, and this also implies that we don't need a lot of space to have it, and therefore we can store it absolutely anywhere. That's kind of the idea behind MINA. So that's the general idea, okay? This is the concept that gave birth to MINA. And so in the news, it's true that it has changed a little in the idea where MINA says to herself, well, that's good. I have big technology. But how do I get people to come to my house? Because it's always that. It's the same principle. When you have an infrastructure blockchain, you have to be able to attract users to use your own blockchain and be profitable. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Otherwise, we have no use in MINA. We have no recovery in MINA. But precisely they started on the fact of, okay, instead of really starting on a blockchain only ourselves, we are going to start on a layer 2 of Ethereum, in which we are going to make our technology available on Ethereum to be able to offer of scalability to Ethereum and attract Ethereum users to my own blockchain. Something that works quite well. It's something that we're currently seeing on other cryptos that are riding this wave in which we interface with Ethereum, and we in fact increase what we call the EVM universe, therefore implying the universe of EVMs, the universe which revolves around Ethereum. And that's a bit of MINA's strength too, is that they have a big technology which is really very suitable for that, which was not necessarily suitable for a notion of being alone and all alone in your own blockchain. That means we have to attract people. We have to do incentives. We have to have developers. If there is no application, it's no use. And there we are really drastically changing the ecosystem. We are going to piggyback on an already existing ecosystem, which works rather well in terms of conceptualization. So, in terms of the roadmap, what is interesting to see, I took just the 3 main blocks, because it is very important. We see that it is under development. Why I'm showing you this is not that you can read it. It has relatively little impact. You just have to understand that currently we are really in the diffusion and creation and development phase. MINA's technology works, but it is not yet implemented in a way that it is completely operational, and therefore it is also a project which is under development. Understand that it is a project under development which already has its token. It is something which is a little different from what we can currently know on other projects in which the project is in the process of being released and the token comes later. This is something that is different once again. In terms of the MINA token, we have a MINA which is around 127. We have a diluted market cap which is around $14 billion, with a dilution which is almost at 100. We clearly see the circulating supply versus the total supply. We are in something which is rather classic, but we are on a token which is inflationary. we must take it into consideration at the level of MINA. In terms of this inflation and token releases, what is interesting to see is that where we are currently, we still had a big release phase. We will see on the graphs that it had a huge impact. There we are left with few things really still need to be diluted. We will mainly have the MINA foundation, but above all the community and the release of incentive tokens for the use of MINA. So here we are rather on classic inflation where we go from 8 lakh to 1 billion. It will take time. 2025, 2026, 2028. We see to reach the end, so it is a small dilution which will be very weak little by little. So we have completed the big, very strong dilution phases, and you will see in the technical part, this is very visible because we had a bearish breakout which ended, which was reversed. So technically, there are several things to say. First, we see a large accumulation of wick-off, which was caused by precisely this dilution. We can clearly see that we have a downward trend which is very marked with a token release which was more or less constant with even a large token release over the first 2 years in which we have the selling. Climate, which is put here, so the SC we then have the retracement with the automatic rally which is positioned there, and we sink again, we take the liquidity of the SC by doing the STB, therefore setting up a wick-off accumulation with take of liquidity from the SC, and we see that we went to make a reacceleration here to then make a second take of liquidity, which is here the spring, bullish reaction to the spring, and we see that we recover the previous level, which is positive, we consolidate above, we can clearly see that we are maintaining this level here, so it is really very important, and there we see that we are in the process of structuring ourselves above it. So here we have a reversal of trend, which is in the process of an end of accumulation, which is rather positive for MINA, and which behind it gives us the possibility of being able to start again on the rise with a wave of acceleration. We always stay in my spot zone. So in the buying zone, we are at the top of the spot zone, if ever we are. Interested in MINA, namely that yes, we are in this accumulation zone, yes, we are going to make a retracement, but it is also likely to go and retest the 0.92 here, or even potentially a little bit lower. Go and test the zone here, 0.52, with the big resistance found here, which will become a big support to be able to start again. We are logical because we made lows which are lower and lower. We see that we made a bullish break with a new high. Who took the previous high, what we are waiting for is to have a retracement, to have a low higher than the previous one, and to notice this upward trend which would start to rise again. What can we have as a target? So there we would really be on a price discovery which is done quite easily compared to the diluted cap brand. We have 1.4 billion. Ideally, on this type of protocol, we can quite easily search for the 7.8 billion, in which we would have a rather solid layer 2. And if we compare ourselves to what we could experience in a bull run phase for a layer 2, and with a narrative around ZK proofs and layers 2 of Ethereum, we could find precisely our friend MINA in the vicinity of $35 billion in terms of valuation. So this gives us targets at the level of MINA which are relatively high. This implies that we could search with a MINA in the region of $10. $11, $15, $20, so something that is very strong and very powerful. The other system will be to draw, here, which is much more technical, a Fibonacci retracement in which we will set up a price discovery. And we see that the target, 1,618, is a MINA in around 77. On the other hand, this implies that we would have a diluted market cap around 78 billion, which is still very substantial. We recall that it is the equivalent of Solana of the previous bull run in terms of market cap, so what was already very important with an ecosystem that was already used, developed with a lot of developers who were building decentralized applications, which is not the case for MINA, therefore built in perspective. For the moment we could even go and look for another target. We could go for the 1,212, which could already be quite a bit in the region of $24-25. So a diluted market cap in the region of 25 billion. Which is already very significant for the MINA ecosystem and for the ecosystem of compatible EVMs, which risks being very, very heavy in the next bull run. That is why it is imperative to understand this ecosystem. See the new players. See the trends to be able to expose yourself if you want to be exposed once again to this ecosystem. And if you want to know exactly how to buy, when to sell, and how to structure a strategy correctly, I've put together a free guide with description and commentary. It's a summary of what you need to know to be ready for what's going to happen. I hope you liked this video. If so, don't forget to leave me a like and a comment. It always makes me very happy. And above all, it supports the channel. We'll see you soon for a new video.